So, unfortunately, Harold has not been able to join us, but we are going to have his report now on
Hello, everyone.
pagan
Harold the Lone Wolf
imprisonment.
Carter here, and I am at the Mother Church, the ATC Mother Church in Index, Washington. And as I am walking around this beautiful garden with beautiful statues and rich in history, I bumped into Cassandee, who has been the official head gardener of the ATC. Cassandee, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm gardening.
You are, and since I've been here, and it's a big difference from when you were here. What's the main things that you do here?
Well, I like to maintain this little garden down here near the house for Bella that's flowers and plants that are sacred to Hecate. And I like to maintain the vegetable garden up top, which is the Save the Seeds Foundation garden.
What is actually sacred to Hecate?
Well, you mean of the things down here, or?
Sure.
Sacred to Hecate is anything in the dark and also witchy things. And so magical plants, many magical plants that have mysterious powers, I would say, dark and dank powers, are featured in this garden and featured for the privilege of Our Lady Hecate, who lives in the shrine behind us, or who we have a presence here on the property.
The house right there. Up,
Yep.
It's like
that little
kind of elevated
shack right
above.
there is the Hecate shrine, or it's a goddess shrine for any goddess.
Right.
But because we have our coven and everything dedicated to Hecate, it's Hecate's shrine, and the plants that are down here represent some of her favorites.
So how long have you been the official head gardener of the ATC Mother Church?
Well, I've been volunteering to garden here for about 3 years, and in the time I've done it, I do, like, along with Bella and Dusty, I'm the next most gardened person, so 3 years.
What would you say that your spiritual tradition is?
Oh, well, I'm a naturalist. Mostly, I like nature more than culture, and I like to spend time in nature. So to me, there's nothing more foundational to a pagan practice than a connection with the earth. And my connection with the earth is facilitated by sticking my fingers in it and getting really dirty, and pulling weeds and cultivating plants that I love and that I want to nourish.
And while you're participating in the gardening here, do you find yourself in contemplation or reflection or thinking about Hecate specifically when you're dealing with everything here?
With the plants in the garden, this garden, definitely I do. I actually go up and visit her usually before or after I garden, and spend a little time in contemplation in the shrine, kind of getting inspiration about what's important to the goddess. And then I come out and I do what is important to me as a gardener, which is, clearing out weeds for the most part. But it's amazing how many things I discover and find. Like, I just found this really shiny black beetle that I was admiring right before we started this. And it felt very Hecate to me. I don't know how to say it other than to say it felt like a message from Hecate telling me that the work I'm doing is worthy and that she's proud. And that's the kind of interactions that I normally have while I'm weeding, or while I'm working, is that when I'm in the garden up there, I really feel Demeter's presence mostly. And then this is a little darker garden, and it's mostly about flowers and things that we enjoy on a non-food level, and also some magic herbs. And so those things down here definitely connect me to Hecate.
So do you think that, do you find yourself in like an alternative state of consciousness when you're out here alone gardening?
Yeah. So I really definitely transcend the normal monkey mind. Like the monkey mind shuts the hell up when I'm out in the garden. And that's huge. But I definitely have developed relationships. I'd say up in the big garden, it's more noticeable that I've developed relationships with the bees there. I've developed relationships with the birds there. I've developed relationships with the snakes there. I've developed relationships with the rodents there. That's huge in my spiritual path. That's like giving me some of the best experiences I can have on my spiritual path. And I find it really, really strong when I'm working in Demeter's garden up there. It's like the spirit of the mother just fills me, and I feel at one with the whole gardening experience. And I would say that's an altered state of consciousness from the usual, like what I'm worried about in the people-y world.
That's quite fascinating.
Oh.
So to be the head gardener at the ATC Mother Church, I want to say that that's very notable and very honorable.
Thank you.
And it's a very magical place here. As far as contemporary authors or other gardener friendly authors, who would you say that is your most, who are you inspired by?
So Susan Weed was really inspirational to me when I was in college and got me started talking to plants. Like I didn't communicate with plants on their level before I read Susan Weed, and it was just getting the personalities that she conveys in her books, like Wise Woman Herbal, and I'm trying to think of another one, but I know Wise Woman Herbal is one that's still on my shelf, and it has some of my favorite plants in it. And I learned and connected with those plants initially through reading that book, and then it really just widened from there because it's been like 30 years. So in 30 years, I've taken a lot of steps outside of that, but she was really instrumental in getting me started. Most of the books I've read since then in witchcraft and stuff have not been as hands-on in the garden with the plants as that. And I don't read a lot of books. I haven't found a lot of books that are. I mean, I've got a bunch of fungi books I'm reading now that do have that take of working with the plants and learning about their personalities, but not so much flowering plants or food plants and stuff. I think maybe there's a need for books like that. Look, books like that do what I do. Birds too. Bugs too.
So you mentioned like talking to the plants and the vegetation and things.
Yeah.
Notably, an author that I'm familiar with is Paul Barrow's works. And he talks a lot about in his Holy Book of the Divas, where communication with plants and garden vegetation.
The Divas. Yeah.
I don't think that that's very prominent within the pagan community, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, that's true. There probably are lots of books I haven't been exposed to, but I have heard of those books. I just haven't actually exposed myself to them. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, right.
And so I was just recently at Patrick McCullum's ranch in New Mexico, and he was talking about creating a device where you could talk to animals, where with conjunction with AI to be able to talk to animals. And it would be very fascinating if we could figure out an AI program to talk to plants.
Well, I just do the same thing I do with animals and plants, is that I just speak from my heart in my mind. Sometimes I verbalize just because I'm very verbal, but I mean, the connection with the animals and the plants is absolutely the same ass thing. It's not different, because I do both. But what the difference is, I think, really is understanding a plant's timeline. Like the cycle of a day to a plant feels like it just took a breath and let it out. That's one day in a plant's life. I mean, not so much vegetable plants. We could talk about all the differences among that, but in general, plants live on a different time scale than we do. And they don't understand us running around, moving all the time, moving them all the time. Like most people kill plants that say, like, I can't handle plants. It's because they're like, monkey mind is on monkey time, trying to handle a plant that's on plant time. And you're like doing 7 things a day to it, like changing its water, its light, its everything. They don't like that at all. They're really against that. They want to be left alone, and they want to be in their space, and they need to stay mobile or immobile. That's what they do. They stay in one place. And if you mess with them too much, they just hate it. And I found that to be the first key to unlocking talking to plants, is that you have to stop thinking of time in the way that animals think of time, which is, as you're moving, it's all very linear. Plants are a lot more holistic in their sense of time. And mornings, every morning is the same morning, and every night is the same night, and they're still just breathing in and breathing out. and they want to be treated with respect for that, not have you trying to impose your timeline on how they move. They don't like that.
What would you say the biggest challenges are for witchy gardening?
Mostly that nobody notices what you're doing, and it feels like you're just alone all the time, and so you're kind of like you don't worship in union with a bunch of other people on the plants. I think it's best to be one-on-one with the plants, and so it's kind of lonely. Mm-hmm. It's a lonely path. I don't share it with, like, my partner doesn't garden, and I have one friend that's like an avid gardener like me, and like we get together and witchy garden together, which basically means naked gardening, and being crazy. And if I didn't have that one other person in my life, I feel like I would be completely alone. And I would feel like I was some kind of like sore thumb that sticks out in the middle of nowhere because no one else does what I do. Or sees it as worship even, Like they just think, oh, weeding is so tedious, and oh, such a mess, and oh, it's whatever, all these bad things, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but it seems like people don't like to get their fingernails dirty, maybe. That kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah.
What are the biggest rewards of gardening?
Oh my God, when something succeeds, like for instance, I have a flower over here that's flowering, and when I put that baby plant in, it was this big, and it had like 6 leaves, and now it stands nearly as tall as me, and it has these beautiful flowers on it, and just the sense of accomplishment of helping and nourishing things to grow and bloom and do what's natural to them. And I think that can be animals or plants or people, is so rewarding. I think you can do it. I did it a bit as a preschool teacher, and I felt much the same, seeing the children go through. But for me, this is the class of 2024, and we're getting ready to graduate. A bunch of us are flowering already. I guess that's how I would answer that question. It's just really all rewarding when things work. It's really sad when things die. Like I had another plant that I put in here. It's not here anymore. But I have something I planted from seed last year, and I didn't think I would ever see one. It's Augustaceae, and it actually bloomed. And I'm like, oh my God, like totally outlandishly excited over a little plant. I don't know. Some people wouldn't get it. I do, though. I get very excited about it. To me, that's so rewarding right there. Right there.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that gardening is your direct communication with divinity?
It's definitely one of the ways I connect. I connect through movement a lot, like dancing and stuff is another one, Grateful Dead dancing, like wild dancing, like not listening to anybody else about how you dance and just dancing. And so dance is one, but definitely it's the one that I can engage in on any day and really change my world. Like go from before gardening to after gardening is a role that I relish. And if I didn't, I wouldn't do it. And just like dancing, it's like I still dance even though I'm getting older, and I can't dance for 3 hours like I used to, but I can dance for 3 30-minute sessions, which is just about enough to get through a concert anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like that.
Well, I got to say, Cassandee, I'm by no means adept with gardening, but I am aware that things like mandrake, nightshade can
right.
be somewhat, poisonous, if ingested or maybe by
right.
touch. Is there any like caution that you suggest?
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with particular herbs like that and gotten ill?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I'm smart enough not to do that. I do eat a lot of plants, I will admit, but I know what I'm eating and what I'm not eating, and I don't try things that I don't know. So, and that's true of like fungi, and it's true of plants. But like we do have poisonous plants in here, and a dog could get sick going in here and eating one of these plants. There's a couple of them. I can say 3 that I can look at right now and say, yeah, if a dog ate that whole plant, like a person just couldn't eat enough to get deathly ill. But you could definitely eat enough to get sick, and a dog could definitely probably eat enough to die. So you have to have a lot of respect for those kinds of plants, and we purposely put them in because they are sacred to Hecate for that very reason. They're sacred to Hecate because they have that power of life over death, or death over life. And And we use them for purposes like, well, for instance, one of the plants that's in the garden right now is there as it's one of the things as a sleep aid. It's also one that you use in a Hecate flying potion. So it has the power to induce wild dreams, or to allow you to, potentially escape your brain and do a flying potion, which is that Artemisia right there, which is really beautiful, and it's very dark and frightening. And I mean, dogs they know better than to eat it. They're not going to eat that thing. There's lots of harmless plants in here too. And I could eat all of these violets. Like, I could just stand here and pick violets and eat them all day. They're pretty yummy, and they're totally non-toxic. So it definitely is about knowing what you can and can't eat, and not trying things that you don't know are okay, and definitely having respect for the plant, that it potentially has powerful compounds in it that could kill you. And that's, the plant's defenses. The reason that the plant is on the planet is because it found a way to survive being eaten by other animals. So they've got some tricks up their sleeves, and it's good to be aware of that and to be cautious.
Wow. Cassandee, can you bring me around the garden of the ATC Mother Church?
I could show you a little bit. There's not huge amounts to see right now, but there's some. Yeah, I'll show you around this one, the downstairs garden.
So here we are. This is Hecate's garden.
This is Hecate's garden. And this is Artemisia, which is a fancy name for mugwort. If you know mugwort, it's about dreams and fanciful flights, like Hecate's flying potion uses Artemisia, or mugwort, more commonly known. It's in flower right now, and we have two of the most just beautiful specimens. They're very dark, and they have a very dark stem on them, and it's in glory to Hecate that they are flowering right now. And that plant is sacred to Hecate. We use it in a flying potion for her. And then this, well, we, as in people, this is pennyroyal, which I put in here to tell people to have a care. And it smells very strong. And I do believe that that is sacred to Hecate, although I don't have any proof of it. She approves of it being here, or it wouldn't have made it. It survived there. And this is a heliobore. Now, heliobore is poisonous. It's one of the ones I referred to earlier as being poisonous. And that looks pretty sad and little, but it's going to be a magnificent shrub about 3 feet tall, and it's going to have purple and yellow, or purple and white flowers. And it's going to be amazing. And that is also very poisonous. Not like it'd kill you, but you'd have to eat a hell of a lot of it, but it would make you really sick. And it's used in magic. This one's kind of more obvious about the way it's used in magic. Its name is pulmonaria, which is related to liver, or heart, lungs. Okay, hello, lungs. And it's called a lungwort. And it also makes purple flowers. Most of Hecate's sacred flowers seem to be purple or yellow. That's a little bit of a mystery for you. But pulmonaria is also like toxic. Like if the dogs here ate that whole plant, they'd get sick tummies. You'd have to eat all of it. So the other thing that's in the garden, and it's everywhere, this is a nice specimen right here. This is a nice specimen. This is one, is dandelion. Dandelion is sacred to Hecate. And we leave the good dandelions that are growing, like I leave them along the edges of the beds. They seem to like it. I like it. And I leave some of them in the beds because Hecate loves them. And dandelions, anyone can grow, anybody can work with. Every part is edible. They're the most wonderful, approachable plant on the planet. And Hecate loves them too. And so that is most of the Hecate specific plants. This is black mondo grass. This is also very Hecate. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's very black and beautiful. And anything we do with Hecate that's black and beautiful, we adore. This goth little witch thing that we've got going on with Hecate. So that's most of the plants that are about Hecate. There's some other beautiful things here that will be blooming another time. Not right now. This is called coral bells. It's not, I don't know that it's specific to Hecate, but it is a really cool little plant, and that's growing there by the pulmonaria. And this is agrostachy. This is a rose of Sharon. This is Solomon seal. These are columbine. There's columbine, like 4 of them. And those are all flowers we like to give to Hecate more than being spell work flowers. They're just ones we like to take up to the shrine.
You are watching Witchcraft TV. I'm Harold the Lone Wolf Carter, and this is Pagan News. Signing off.